There are some labs where the PI is very strict, very tough. You have to meet them every week. Sometimes you meet your PI 3 times in a week. And you always have something you have to tell them that you are doing. It's almost like you have cameras on you. My name is Randy. A PhD student in biomedical engineering in Arizona State University. And my PhD is into building point of care devices.
Okay.
These are small devices that are used at the specific place you find a patient.
Okay.
Most of the devices we know are in the hospital facilities, and the patients have to come to the hospital to be able to access them. So, what my lab does, or my professor's lab, of which I'm part of, is to build devices that can be used at where the patients are. And what we are doing is building devices for COVID diagnosis, testing, for human papilloma virus, and just recently we added monkeypox. And so I work in the medical device area.
Space. Okay, that's nice. I want to ask you more, but that is not the scope of this video. We could probably make time for something like that. So in a week, which one of the days is your busiest?
As a PhD student, every day is a
Every
busy
day is a busy
day.
day.
I would say rather there are some seasons of the year that are more busy than others.
Okay.
Just recently, I just came back from a conference just last week. And so that is a busy time. If we are publishing a paper, it's a busy time. It's a busy season. In the summer, it's not that busy unless there's a conference. So it depends on what comes up, and yeah, basically that.
So if every day is a busy day, then what is a typical day like when you get out of bed to going back to bed?
When I wake up in the morning, I do my quiet time, I pray and all of that.
And you do this every day.
Okay, so let me explain. Most of the time I try to do it. Sometimes, based on how the day goes, it becomes difficult to stick to it in the morning. So I try to do it in the evening before I sleep. But yeah, my time with God, I try to. Sometimes the whole day doesn't happen because it's quite difficult. But I try to have that. I just recently stopped eating breakfast in the morning. I used to eat a lot, but it's difficult doing all these things in the morning and getting yourself ready to go out. So sometimes I eat just brunch and then I go to the lab.
Before we talk about what happens in the lab, do you wake up at a particular time, go to bed at a particular time, or you go with the flow?
Usually I go to bed after 12 a.m.
All right. So in the lab, what's a typical day like? What happens there?
Yeah. So in the lab, we do a lot of activities. Currently, this is different from every lab member, but personally, I do a lot of building devices. So because I talked about the medical devices that we do, we are currently at the point where we are building. So we are building devices. So those in the engineering space will be comfortable with the term called embedded systems, using microelectronics or electronic products to integrating them together and building something. So that is what I'm doing now, building something. And after the building, we can do the testing and a lot of data collection and all of that.
Do you use your phone while you're in the lab?
I do.
Oh, so you don't put your phone on like airplane mode or anything?
No. So it depends. My lab is not a very hard, strict lab. So I go and it's a very liberal space. The research is done by the students and supervised by the professor. Usually that's how it happens. So you rarely see your professor in the lab unless you have meetings with them and you discuss what you are doing with them.
Yeah. So after doing a lot of building, what time do you usually step out of the lab?
It depends. Every day is different. Every now and then there are occasions where you go out and meet friends. Yeah, there are parties or stuff that happen, and on the weekends, the time I spend is at church with friends as well. But in terms of balance, that is how I keep the balance between research work, lab work, and then other things as well.
Okay.
But another thing that takes a huge part of my week is the podcasting, because it takes a lot of time, and you're a content creator, so you know, especially when your niche is in an area that needs a lot of information and education, you want to prepare well. And I do it with another person. Sean Murphy is a great guy, and he's been a blessing to our show, so shout out to you.
It looks like the whole PhD program you're involved in seems to be more of self-motivation than when we were in school and your teacher is doing this, they are giving you homework, so you have to do it. It looks like it's more of a self-motivation.
Yes. There are some labs where the PI is very strict, very tough. You have to meet them every week. Sometimes you meet your PI 3 times in a week. And you always have something you have to tell them that you are doing. You know, it's almost like you have cameras on you. My lab is not like that, and I'm grateful for the professor God has given me. She allows you to be free to do your work. And we have weekly meetings where you give reports. And if you don't have a report, she doesn't look down on you or look at you as if you are not working. You get it. So majority of the work has to do with your personal drive to do it, especially when you know that PhD is not like a master's or an undergrad where it's stuck in the time that 4 years you are done, or 2 years for a master's you are done. PhD can go to 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years. It can go to 10 years.
Damn.
It rarely happens, but yes.
Do we have any papers coming up?
So I submitted a paper myself and some other people, but the one I submitted was just me and my professor, but it wasn't accepted. And so that is like, and that was the first paper I've submitted. I have a paper that is published, though I think it's still in the master's when I was doing my master's.
I'll link it in here.
Yeah, but doing a PhD, the first one I submitted wasn't accepted, but I just see it as a learning process.
I don't want to say last words, but what do you think? How is life now? Anything on your mind?
Yeah, so my personal belief is there are sides to human beings. Human beings are not one-dimensional people. We have many facets. And so I like it when I see people doing many things in their lives. Like myself, for instance, I'm in school. I'm doing my podcast. I have some professional development thing going on. I'm planning my relationship.
What kind
my
of
school.
relationship?
You didn't ask about it, so. But my church.
It is what it is. It is what it is.
Church is there, and then all of these things. So planning all of that and working towards all of that is what makes us wholesome. So what is up is to make progress in all of these things. And so yes, and I believe that is what we should be doing. So there are people who only work or only go to school. There's nothing wrong with it. But personally, I feel that there is something else that I can do aside what I'm doing now, which for me is the podcast. And so I'll be channeling my energies into that and pushing all of that concurrently.
You said I didn't ask about a relationship.
Do you want to ask?
Yes, of course. We all want to know.
What do you want to know?
I don't know. How are you managing it with the PhD? How many credit hours is that?
25. Yeah. So relationships I think is important, and it's a good topic to discuss on this channel. 20-something.
Managing your relationship and whatever thing you're involved.
We can save it for I believe that one thing that is important is communication.
We're going to end here because if I don't take care, Randy will keep going on and on.
But I like the show. I probably would like to come back.
Definitely would love to host you again. Thank you so much for watching throughout to this end. Please do also subscribe if you have not. Share this video with whoever wants to become a PhD student too, like Randy, or is looking forward to joining a school to read a PhD program. That is it for today. Come again another time with a wonderful video. Take care of yourself and be safe. Bye. Randy, say bye.
Bye.